These days, it's very difficult to get people introduce you in the right manner, even after sending your profile much in advance. Like it happened to a person called David Collins. An MC was introducing David Collins this way. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome David Collins, an outstanding businessman who made $1 million in the stock market in Pennsylvania in 1961. David Collins said, thank you so much, but I'd like to clarify. It was not 1961, it was 1971. It was not Pennsylvania, it was California. It was not at the stock markets, it was at the races. It was not $1 million, it was just $10,000. It was not me, David Collins, but my brother Michael Collins. And he did not make it, he lost it. Thank you. When you think of that introduction, I thought this was a pretty decent job. Thank you so much. And my public speaking coaches told me, whenever you get a highly flattering introduction, don't say I don't deserve these remarks. Why? Because the audience is soon going to find out anyway. I don't know what you're going to find out, but let's discuss the humor quotient. Why is humor so necessary? As the founder of Toastmasters International, how many of you have heard of Toastmasters? Oh, wonderful. As Dr. Ralph Smedley says, we learn best in moments of enjoyment. And I was doing some research on the word school. The origin is from the Greek word skol, which means leisure. It's a pity that our schools don't resemble play schools anymore, but they resemble the prisons more. But the fact is, unless you're able to enjoy, you will not be able to learn anything. So I'm going to talk about the humor quotient. Why humor necessarily? Life is so stressful, recession, people losing jobs. I met a couple of friends, both married to each other, and I asked them, what did you have for breakfast today? And they said, oh, the usual argument. Life is becoming so stressful. But then I slightly hesitated to talk about humor in business circles because I thought that would be frivolous. Many people told me that humor dilutes a message. It is best reserved for dinner parties or maybe in a stand-up comic session. But I was surprised, shocked and startled, pleasantly of course, when I read a book called The Levity Effect by Christopher. Now, he has done some amazing research on humor in business, and it's not a cock and bull story. They've taken the help of great places to work, and they've got some compelling data to show of more than 1 million senior executives working in Fortune 100 companies that for business, humor is definitely a tool which advances your career. People have been promoted by using humor. So the point I'm trying to make is, humor is no more funny business, it's a lot of serious business. So how do we develop this humor quotient? What is it? I'll give you a simple A, B, C to remember. A stands for accuracy. Whenever you're cracking a joke or using humor in your business presentations, make sure you have words which are precise. Now, I did my engineering back home in India in a university town called Manipal, and I had a friend called Narayan Das. Let's call him Das for short. Once at 2 a.m., a snake bit him. We rushed him to the hospital, and in the emergency ward, which was desolate, just a duty doctor and a nurse were languishing around. Now, please listen to the conversation very carefully. Das goes and tells the doctor, a snake bit me. The doctor asks, which snake bit you? He pulled out the snake and said, this snake bit me. The doctor ran this side, the nurse ran this side, and the doctor had to be treated for multiple disorders. Now, I simply can't figure out what the fuss was all about. I thought Das gave a precise, accurate answer. Which snake bit you? This snake bit me. So the beauty of humor is, can you be accurate in your message? Of course, I urge you not to be as diabolic as my friend, but I hope you get the drift. Be very accurate in your humor. B stands for brevity. Whenever humor is applied in a short manner, using short sentences, it has a much better effect. Imagine somebody trying to tell you a joke with a long-winded message, it doesn't get you anywhere. In a philosophy exam paper, The only question asked for 100 marks was why, W-H-Y, why? And the most interesting answer was why not? I think we can still debate for hours together on this exchange. In fact, the briefest message that I've seen in my life is in a wildlife park where a notice board was written, trespassers will be eaten. I don't think you can find a briefer message than this. And the first speaker this morning, Elham, she spoke about Rosa Parks. Does anybody remember? Now, Rosa Parks was an Afro-American woman sitting in a bus in Alabama. She refused to get up when a white person entered, fully knowing that she'll be punished. And this was reported in the papers, and that sowed the seeds for the civil uprising in the US, and people like Dr. Martin Luther King picked up, and of course it culminated in Obama becoming the president. But Dr. Martin Luther King paid an eloquent tribute to Rosa Parks in just one sentence. He said, "She sat so we could stand." I thought that was brilliant. The entire story in just one sentence. Whether it is communication or humor, use short sentences and that has a dramatic effect. And 3, and the most important thing, is clarity in humor. Many times humor gets dissipated or it gets truncated because I don't understand your language and I think something, I say something else and you understand something totally different. Let's go back to Manipal. I used to be putting up a lot of skits for my college functions, annual day, and there was a very famous skit called The Master and the Donkey. It was just a very simple skit. I used to be the master and there used to be one more person as the donkey, and the scene used to start like this. Scene 1, the donkey says, "Water, master, water." I say, "Patience, donkey, patience." Scene 2, "Water, master, water." Patience, donkey, patience. Scene 3, "Water, master, water." Patience, donkey, patience. Scene 4, "Water, master, water." Patience, donkey, patience. And this used to go on. Scene 5, scene 6, "Water, master, water." Patience, donkey, patience. When it comes to scene 8, after that I used to say scene 10. Suddenly someone from the audience used to say, "Hey, what about scene 9? I used to say, "Patience, donkey, patience." Now, you know, this used to get a tremendous response. Very recently, a friend of mine connected on Facebook and said, "Look here, my name is Nishchal Rao. I was the son of our professor and I was in school when you did this skit, and let me tell you something, your skits were amazing and this patience, donkey, patience had a lasting impact on me. So much so that after that event, whenever I see a donkey, I think of you." Now, frankly, that was supposed to be a compliment, by the way. If I had misunderstood, the humor would have been truncated, but then there is so much of difference between what you say and what the audience understands. There was a co-ed college where a parent entered the college and he was aghast to find boys and girls sitting closely and necking each other. You know what is necking? Many of you? Yeah, very close. And the parent was upset and went and told the principal, "How can you allow boys and girls to be so close and necking like this?" And immediately a notice went up. The principal and the vice principal have decided to stop necking from tomorrow. Now, you can understand the different kind of message that this will have. So, when you're attempting humor, be very careful about the clarity part. And next thing I want you to remember is, the more specific your humor, the more terrific it is. Some 3 months ago, Boman Irani, a very famous actor from India, had come to Dubai. And in the opening lines, he managed to connect very well with the Dubai audience. You know what he said? "Hey, it's wonderful coming to Dubai. In fact, I've been running around the place and I like the way you guys have priorities. You have a media city, an internet city, and a knowledge village." Thank you. I'm just reporting the incident. I got such a good laughter. Just imagine what Boman Irani must have got. The whole audience erupted. It was at the Palladium. The hall was full. So what happened to us? He managed to understand a local, the sensitivity, and then made the joke. That was very, very humorous. So stick more specific your humor, do an audience analysis. I do a lot of presentation skills training, and in my presentation skills I say, audience analysis is very important. You need to understand who your audience is. And I say preparing for a speech or a presentation without the audience in mind is like you writing a love letter to whomsoever it may concern. Very difficult. You can't do that, right? So make sure you have a specific audience. And there is something about the power of 3, just like Baman Irani mentioned, there is something called as the build up and burst. Build up a story and then give it a burst. 3 friends were talking. The first guy says, yesterday night I had a fight with my wife and she threw me out of the bed. The second friend says, I had a fight with my wife and she threw me out of the house. And the third friend says, I too had a fight with my wife, but she came to me crawling on her hands and knees. The other 2 friends are really shocked in admiration and say, hey, really? And what did she say? She said, how long are you going to hide under the bed? Come out, you coward. The point is, if you're able to build up a story and then burst it, it has a dramatic effect, so employ the power of 3. But one caution here, the burst better be good. After all the build up, if you give a damp message, then everything will go for a toss. So I've given you briefly the ABC and also some simple techniques on being humorous. Many people ask me, why do I have to do this? And I take inspiration from a remarkable poem by Emily Dickinson. She says, if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not have lived in vain. What I feel is, if one among you after this program come and tell me, look here, you made me forget my worries for 5 minutes, or means 5 seconds, I don't think this talk has been in vain. Remember, there's so much of seriousness in this life, and everybody takes themselves seriously and not the work seriously. Let me remind you, laughter is the shortest distance between 2 people. Yes or no? And don't you also forget, smile is the second best thing you can do with your lips. Right? Being a thorough gentleman by nature, I am not going to tell you what the best thing is you can do with your lips. You know it yourself. So keep smiling, be happy, and spread the happiness also. I know it is not easy. I can come here and talk. In fact, a packed audience in Dubai, I said, be happy, you must always be happy. Suddenly a middle-aged gentleman got up and said, yeah, CK, what for you? You'll say, be happy, be happy. Come and get married to my wife, then you'll know, he said. I was not prepared for the challenge anyway. So smile, laugh, and make other people happy. Stay blessed always. Thank you so much.